Welcome to this presentation on the Grunt Mindset. The purpose of this presentation is to really highlight the importance of mindset for survival and SHTF as well as everyday life, because a lot of this stuff will apply not only to a survival situation, but at work, at home, and whatever you're doing in life. So, a little bit about myself before we get going. My name is Josh. I'm from the YouTube channel Modern Frontiersman, where I teach all about self reliance. First off, I was raised in the LDS Church. For anybody that knows anything about the Mormon Church, which I'm not a member of anymore, but um, the Mormon Church is very big on preparedness. That is an integral part of being a member of that church, and it is part of life, and it is a positive. And think I took a lot of that mindset from that raising. Also, had a rural raising. I was raised in rural North Alabama. Of course, everything that comes along with being raised in the rural South, hunting, gardening, fishing, being outside and living self-reliant life is just everyday life. It's not anything abnormal. It's not prepping. It's not any of that. It's just living. I was raised in Boy Scouts. For all of my childhood, I was constantly out on Boy Scout events and learning all those survival skills and all the good things that Boy Scouts used to do. I've always lived a very adventure and outdoor based lifestyle. Really into camping, um, hiking, whitewater canoeing, kayaking, rock climbing, caving, rappelling, mountain biking, all that stuff. So I spent a lot of time in outdoor adventure type environments. 2 days after I got out of high school, I joined the Marine Corps and uh, went off to Paris Island. I spent some time in Iraq. I went one deployment to the Battle of Ramadi in 2006. For those that know anything about it, it was a very eventful battle. If you don't know anything about the Second Battle of Ramadi, you can research that. After I got out of the Marine Corps, I actually went to college for business management, and I worked for a long time in a manufacturing setting, in an automotive factory, an international automotive factory. I moved up through the ranks pretty quickly there. Within like a year or so, I think in a leadership position, and pretty much remained in a leadership position except for a short time in between. Um, until I left there. So I was there for about 10 years. So between being a fire team leader in the Marine Corps and between being in management in a manufacturing setting, there's a lot of lessons learned, mistakes, and everything that comes along with that learned from a lot of management experience. When I got out, I decided to want to be a homesteader. So we started working towards living off grid and raising animals and trying to get even more self-reliant. So all the hardships that come along with that are an important lesson and factor in these skills. And of course, I'm a content creator on YouTube and Instagram and all that good stuff. Teaching all this stuff that I've learned throughout my life with all of this background that I have. So as I said, this is the Grunt Mindset presentation. So everything humans do, it starts in the mind. To survive and thrive in an SHTF environment, it's just as important that one trains the mind just as one stocks food, guns, ammo, and combat training. People are often surprised to know that that in Marine Corps boot camp, very little actual combat training is done within that 13 weeks. It's mostly indoctrination and mentality. And that's why we're doing this presentation, and I'm very passionate about this topic because mentality can make all the difference in survival and in success in whatever you're doing. But after spending some time in a combat zone, you realize how important the mind really is. 3 points on the topic of mentality that are very important to understand are the mental strength to continue on, for one, and the ability to ignore your pain and suffering, and the ability to radically accept circumstances just as they are. So, having the mental strength to move on no matter what is much more difficult than the average person might think. Over time, people do get burned out, exhausted, and even bored with prolonged activities. And this is some of the three internal enemies that I have pointed out and discovered: burnout, exhaustion, and boredom. All those things happen. Even in combat, this Marine Lance Corporal here, James Blake, is in Fallujah. James Blake Miller. Um, he talked about this when this picture was taken. They asked him about him. He's sitting there smoking this cigarette. Gained the name the Marlboro Man, and he said basically he was just that they saw a war hero. He said when he looks at it, he remembers just being a guy that just wanted to go home, that was just burned out and exhausted, and that's how it goes. Um, so over time, people do get burnt out, exhausted, and even bored with any prolonged activity. To be able to remember why the task at hand is important and to continue fighting is key. One may think that after SHTF that you would not be that wouldn't be the case, but you would be mistaken. Even in war, people get mentally weakened, become complacent, or just don't want to continue on. Strengthen your ability to keep moving no matter how hard it gets could very well be the difference in victory and defeat, in life and death. A way to strengthen this ability is to um, intentionally do things for periods of time that you hate doing, for one. Notice how it makes you feel. Remind yourself of why this task needs to be done, and keep going. So yeah, do productive things that you hate doing, and learn to love that difficulty. As we see, we have a quote here from Seneca: uh, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body," and I strongly believe that. So ignore the pain. Pain and discomfort are things that most Americans are not as familiar with as other people of the world. In an SHTF world or a combat situation, comfort is just very low on the priority list. So don't expect to be comfortable, because you're probably not going to be. Throughout my life, I have heard and seen on a regular basis people say that they can't do certain things, or simply quit doing what needs to be done because the thing causes pain or discomfort. Now, I don't know who ever promised anybody that everything was supposed to be comfortable and cause no pain, and everything was supposed to be easy. People also say, I can't do that. It's hard. I'm not doing that. It's too hard. Well, who said everything was supposed to be easy? Right? Imagine the only way to move to an object to acquire food for your family without being killed by enemies is by wading through a swamp and then climbing over a steep mountain. This route is going to be quite uncomfortable and painful, but you must do it anyway. In the Marine Corps, I learned how to ignore this pain and suffering. When you can embrace the suck, you would be surprised at what you can accomplish. This is a necessary skill for the Minuteman and anybody wanting to, prepare for SHTF. So as we see here on the screen, just keep in mind, it will be painful. Accept that. Comfort is not a priority, so don't expect everything to be comfortable, and just embrace the suck. The often used Marine Corps quote here: "Pain is weakness leaving the body." So radical acceptance. This is something that I have found to be very helpful for myself in the recent past. Okay. In the field of embracing the suck, not only must you accept the immediate physical pain and suffering, but you have to always learn to radically accept the circumstance for what it is, no matter what. This point and the point of ignoring the pain may seem the same, but they are different things. It does no good to dwell on the negative aspects of what's going on. You can't control external forces. You must accept things as they are and move forward into the reality. You can only control your own actions. Oftentimes, the thing that hinders us in life are simply ruminating and putting too much thought into the way we wish things were, rather than accepting the way things really are. And stressing out about it does not help. This holds us back. This is critically important in an SHTF scenario, as you must accept and look at things as they really are to be of sober mind and be able to act and react appropriately. Accept the situation just as it is, good or bad. Have no feelings about it. So, all these mental skills are skills that most any grunt that has spent any time in combat have intentionally or unintentionally acquired. Those that don't suffer a great deal. The best way to build these skills is to intentionally put yourself in uncomfortable situations, to recap, and just suck it up. I have to come. I have come to a place over the years where I can, like, literally and intentionally sort of just turn emotions and opinions off. Imagine that movie Universal Soldier. If you can basically turn yourself into a robot when necessary, it can really help you accomplish the task at hand, and effectively and efficiently deal with whatever comes your way. So, said I'm a practitioner of self-reliance and preparedness lifestyle, survivalist. I'm a Minuteman. I'm a homesteader, a combat veteran who is just concerned with the direction America is going and want to encourage all American men to be the best they can be. I hope this presentation has been helpful to you and shed some light on some things and made you think about further about this aspect of, your mentality and your mindset going forward in your training and in your preparedness for emergencies. Please be sure to head over and follow me on YouTube on my channel Modern Frontiersman, also Modern Frontiersman on Instagram. I have a newsletter on Substack. We have a Patreon. There's a Facebook. We're everywhere. Uh, But here, once again, this is the conclusion here. Push forward, ignore pain, suffering, radical acceptance. If you can do all these things, you're good to go. Hey guys, thank you for your time. Get out and train. Stay self-reliant. Remember, the wood line is calling, and it needs bodies.